Hi, everybody. We're talking about self-contradictions, tautologies, and implications in this screencast. So what I hope you learn from the screencast is how to identify the self-contradictions and tautologies from a truth table, and secondly, to learn the difference between a tautology and an implication, or specifically what type of tautology an implication is. So, to summarize it all, this basically summarizes everything you're going to learn in this screencast. A self-contradiction is a compound statement that is always false, and a tautology is a compound statement that is always true. An implication is a conditional statement that is a tautology. So let me show you an example of each. So here's an example of a self-contradiction. Let me show you why it's a self-contradiction. So you're going to find problems like this in your homework where you're asked to determine whether this statement is a tautology, a self-contradiction, or neither. So I took this statement and I put it into a truth table. And remember, the truth table is always set up the same way with P and Q here written on the left. So the first thing I did is fill in inside the parentheses. So I filled in the not P column, the Q column, the P, and the not Q column. Now, what's highlighted in this light orange is I'm going to combine the not P and the Q columns with the or statement. And I'm going to combine the P and the not Q statement with the and statement. So I'm going to fill in these light orange columns first. So false or true is true, false or false is false, true or true is true, true or false is true. In the and statement, true and false is false, true and true is true, false and false is false, false and true is false. Now I'm going to take these two light orange columns, the or and the and, to combine the biconditional. So it'll be true if and only if, false, which will be false. This is done on the next screen. So you'll see that my answer column is all falses. Since the statement is always false, then this statement is called a self-contradiction. The answer column is all falses, so this statement is a self-contradiction. All right, let's look at a tautology. So I put the tautology into the truth table. I'm going to do what's in the parentheses first. So I filled in the not Q column and then the P column. So I have if F, then if false, then true is true. If true, then true is true. If false, then false is true. And if true, then false is false. And then I just filled in the not Q column. It's these two orange columns that's going to determine what goes in this column, which is the or column. So true or false is true. True or true is true. True or false is true. And false or true is true. You see that in this next screen. Since the answer column is all trues, then the statement is always true, so this statement is a tautology. Okay, one last example. We want to talk about this idea of an implication. So an implication is a conditional statement that is always true. So I put this statement into the truth table. A lot of students sometimes get confused with the brackets and the parentheses. So this is a good example for us to do through this screencast. So not only will you learn what an implication is, you'll learn how to do this very complex truth table. So remember, we're going to go very inside that parenthesis. So we're going to do the conditional statement here and the conditional statement here first. We can also do this biconditional inside the parentheses. You'll see that on the next screen. So I filled in those columns. Now I have to do the and statement that is inside the brackets. What determines that and statement is these two conditionals. So I've highlighted them in yellow. So remember, we're filling in the green, this and statement. True and true is true. False and true is false. True and false is false. True and true is true. This biconditional, true if and only if true is true, true if and only if false is false, false if and only if true is false, and false if and only if false is true. All right, so now that we have that all done, the answer column is the last column that we're going to be filling out, and that's going to be this conditional statement. What determines the conditional statement is going to be these two light green columns. So we're going to take the and from very inside the bracket and the biconditional from inside this right-hand parenthesis. That's going to determine our conditional. True. If true, then true is true. If false, then false is true. If false, then false is true. If true, then true is true. So the answer column is all true values. Because this statement is always true, and that statement is under this conditional, that statement is called an implication. Okay, that's all there is to it. Good luck.